Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Hello. I posting to X and Blue Sky. Oh, buddy. Hello. How are we, guys? All right. So, we're a little bit past halfway, 2026, guys. And I've watched about 95-ish movies, maybe 92. Let's check in on our Letterboxd account. But man, I had such a rough day. I do pest control, and I sealed up someone's home. Their home was like from the 1930s. There was holes everywhere, vents wide open. And I thought it was just one raccoon. You know, I leave a humane live trap up there. I go back days later today to check it, and the mama raccoon was caught, but there was 4 baby raccoons surrounding the cage. It was really sad. Everything was alive. I had to freaking... Like, I don't wrestle animals, guys. I'm not about to pick them up. We don't do that. We just kind of live trap and stuff, but I had to open up holes or on the roof that they can get out. And I put some like predator urine so the mother senses it, pulls the babies out one by one. I had to open the live trap in the attic, and the mama ran out. But yeah, I have to give him a couple days to get out. That was stressful. I hate when work stresses me out, dude. Why can't things just go to plan? Anxiety. And what else? I'm day 15 sober. God, dude, this is seriously so hard. The cravings are out of control, man. It's every 5 minutes, like once it's past like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm just craving alcohol, dude. It is rough stuff. But we're making it. But now it's like getting a little easy, I guess, because like when I get triggered for whatever stupid reason, I just get anxious and sick thinking about alcohol. It's like I don't even want it. So that's a step in the right direction, right? It's gonna keep going at it. So let's open up our Letterboxd, guys. Where's our Letterboxd? So, all right. So we're a little bit past halfway in 2026, and let's talk some movies, okay? Let's look at I like Letterboxd statistics. You can kind of see what's popping off here. So it's July 14th, so 98 films. I'm sure, like, you know, I think I've watched like 7 or 8 this month, so let's just say it's about 90, okay? So the films I watched here, I rewatched Alien. These are like the highest rated movies that I've watched. I mean, released in a year, obviously. So rewatched Alien, classic, dude, but favorite film this year, I mean, it's 2025, but it's really a 2026 film. I think it got a very, very limited release. But The Furious, guys, you have to go see it. One of my favorite first-time watches this year. Incredible martial arts action, great story, and just outstanding action choreography, martial arts choreography, guys. So thrilling. What are some other first-time favorite watches? Kanasatake, incredible documentary, guys. White people want to build a golf course on like Native American land. Really effed up, and you know the Native Americans, they camp out, you know, and the police, they even call in the army, dude, like National Guard in Canada. It's really disgusting. So must watch, guys. That was a first time watch. So it's from 1993. My dad's favorite film, The Long Shot. I don't know why. Like, I think it's hilarious. It's a family favorite. It doesn't look like much, guys, but I promise, give it time. Watch The Long Shot from 1986. The intro music, the song title, is done by Ice-T. It's really bizarre. You'll hear it right at the beginning in the opening credits. So, but it's got a stacked cast of the 80s, guys. A lot of well-known comedians of that time. One Cut of the Dead. I rented this from We Love Video here at the local video store, guys. And it's a Japanese zombie film. It's a film about making a film, and it's got some meta stuff in there, which I don't like sometimes, but they do it right. It's borderline brilliant, man. Borderline genius. 4.5 stars out of 5. So really like this one, guys. The Dead Zone. That's the second watched, but it holds up. I love Cronenberg. I love Chris Walken. The ice is gonna break. Rewatch The Blob. I love the remake, man. That's incredible practical effects, man. Some of the best kills in film. So good. The Sword of Doom. This was a first time watch. I watched that at the airport on my portable DVD player, man. I've had the physical copy forever, but if you want a good Japanese samurai flick about a guy, a swordsman going mad, a descent into madness, dude, it's super good. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. I don't know why this is not rated so high, y'all, on Letterboxd and other places. You know, I rate it 4.5 out of 5. This is a all-time family favorite. The kid actors are actually pretty good. Usually kid actors are fucking annoying. I don't know what they're doing. This holds up, man. Hilarious. And John Getz plays the best sleazeball in film, you know. That's an actor that can play a sleaze, a scumbag. Really like him in this. John Getz was a sleazebag in The Fly, if you remember that. Runaway Train, another first-time watch. Jon Voight, Eric Roberts is playing a very strange accent, and he goes for it, I guess. Rebecca De Mornay is also in there. And two escape convicts. You got a prison break scene that's thrilling. Guys on the run. A train that won't stop. And a warden that's going all out to stop them. So really like that one. Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. I haven't even seen the first Prom Night, guys. This fucking movie rules. I love this movie. Prom Night 2, guys. You got to go see it. I saw it in the theaters at the Alamo Drafthouse. I think it was Weird Wednesday. They hold like a special showing. But, dude, the kills are incredible. Creative. It's kind of a little ridiculous, like how... I mean, it's supernatural. You can't explain why the spirit's coming out or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Don't ask too many questions. Just enjoy the thrills, man. It's really good. I did a Creed binge. I did Creed 1, 2, and 3. I really like 1. I like 3. They're kind of tied up there. I kind of ate up Creed 3, that story. Creed 2 is up there, too. That's 3.5. The Mummy, that's a fun, not a swashbuckler, but action-adventure, man. That holds up today. I watched the sequel, and I didn't like it. Basic Instinct, this was a first-time watch, although maybe it was second. But I really liked it, man. Paul Verhoeven's, he's the GOAT. He's one of my favorite directors. But I wasn't dating, I was fucking him, as she says. Crimes of the Future, another Cronenberg. Got 2 Cronenbergs in there. Really fascinating plot and story. The future they live in. I thought that was awesome. So, guys, I need to average about 18 a month if I'm going to hit 200. But I'm averaging 14, so I'm not doing so hot. Looks like Sundays, I watch the most films on a Sunday, 17 movies. But hey, man, that's pretty spread out. Looks like Wednesdays I don't like. I watched 9 films on a Wednesday. The first film of the year I watched was Training Day. 3.5 stars out of 5. 50th film. Blah, blah, blah. The last film, which is technically July, I watched Road Rage, guys. This is a very... the stuntmen that worked on this film are very... they've got, what do you call it, a high output. A ton of popular films, successful films, but this is a very obscure, low-budget film. Can't really recommend it, though. The stunts are nice, though. I just wanted to, since it's obscure. What have I been watching? A bunch of thrillers, action, horror, drama, crime, comedy, sci-fi. Mostly USA films, of course, guys. I'm a Hong Kong cinema nut. I love Asian cinema, especially Hong Kong. Got 10 films in there. You can't really trust Letterboxd, you know. They put countries in random places, so. Themes and nano genres. Let's see. Horror, the undead, and monster classics. Twisted, dark psychological thriller. Terrifying, haunted, and supernatural horror. High speed and special ops. Interesting. Gory, gruesome slasher horror. Yep. Suspenseful crime thrillers. That's me. Themes, nano genres. Interesting. Very cool. These are all kind of spread out evenly, I guess. I don't really watch new films, guys. I've only watched 3 2026 films. I suck. I think Obsession is up there. I forgot what other 2026 films I watched. Let's see. I've rated 4 films a perfect 5, 7, 17. 25 films. A lot of films above average E. I don't really rewatch films too often. Only 4 films this year. I review every film 100%. So, Sylvester Stallone. Who's Chris Mulkey? Why is he up here? Wood Harris and Slides, because I was watching the Creed films. David Patrick Kelly, he's cool. Yeah, these are all mostly because of Creed. Yeah, Michael Buffer. Directors, Sarah Jacobson. Guys, I hosted a movie night at rightbraintv.com. Anti-imperialist streaming site. Drop Netflix and get Right Brain TV, guys. But they're kind enough to let me host a movie night of Sarah Jacobson's films. I showed 4 films. You can watch it all for free on Twitter or X and on rightbraintv.com. And I did a little biography to open the show. I reviewed 4 films, 1 full-length feature film, and 3 shorts. I give a review after each one. And then I cap it off with a outro. So Sarah Jacobson, man, one of the queens of independent cinema. Rest in peace. Died at 34 years old, really young, something like that. So directors, yeah, usually I'm at like 5 films from one guy, one person, but apparently I'd spread it out over 2. Haven't watched too much. Crews and studios. Interesting. Nothing really stands out here. It's too early because everything's like 2. So, and I watched Creed. Studios, Metro Golden Mayer. Interesting. My most liked review is The Furious. That's cool. The shittiest first time watch, guys, is probably Cell. Oh my god. I can't even say if it's so bad it's good. It's so bad. Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson are fucking asleep, dude. So, what else? Yeah. Obsession is probably like as far as 2020. That's a 2025 film? No way. Thought that was 2026. God, 2012, that disaster movie pissed me off, dude. It was like the longest fucking movie. And it didn't have to be. So, these are all the films I watched. Check it out. I guess this is all in order, huh? Yeah, this is all in the order I've watched it. Cool. Above the Rim, yeah. I rewatched Austin Powers. That's pretty cool. Posse, all black cast for the most part. Mario Van Peebles directed, I believe. It's a good Western right there. What else? What else do I want to talk about? I guess that's it. You guys I watched the Anaconda sequel. I kind of low-key liked it. I'm going to get shitted on for that one. Yeah, there you go, guys. That's kind of what I want to talk about today is my midway point of 2026. Hey, you guys want to So Bad It's Good? Room 6, man. This shit was funny. We couldn't stop watching. It was a bad film, but we were glued to we weren't glued to the screen, but my girlfriend and I were like, damn, we got to see where this goes. Like, we're into it. And the acting's super poor. The jump scares are funny and just really campy and stupid. And honestly, the movie ends very well. I really like the ending. So, yeah, man. There you go. Oh, Disclosure Day. That's a 2026 film. Fuck that movie. So stupid, man. CNN anchors crying about aliens live on camera. It's so... I felt nothing with that film, dude. It's so dumb. Like, there's a freaking genocide going on, and that's being live streamed, and like Spielberg makes a movie about, oh, they're glued to their phones about aliens. Like, you need to make a statement, film Spielberg. It's not the film we need right now. Just Americans and just white people in general ignore the genocide, and you'd rather watch a freaking be sad about aliens. Stupid. All right, sorry. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Okay, so all right. Well, there's that. I wanted to talk about that right now. So, what else? So we got cat camera. Cat cam. So, what else? Let's I want to get back to reading, and guys, this little chapter here is only about 4 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pages, guys. Let's get a quick little reading in, okay? Switch this thing up real quick. Let's switch it up. Let me get ready. All right, so let's see. Cool. Pop, pop, pop. All right, so thank you for watching, guys. That was the movie part of the stream. I hope you guys watched some of the movies I recommended. But I just want to read a few pages of Prison Nation. This is part 3. I've read, I did 2 separate streams on this one, and part 1, part 2. And there's a couple of dozen of, it's like a collection of stories that were printed in like newspapers, magazines, etc., highlighting just mass incarceration, capitalism, how it affects people of color, especially black people. So I like reading about this kind of stuff, guys. I'm anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, so I know my name's Game.Film. If you're new here, if you're confused, like, why are you reading a book? That's what we do here, guys. So let's start reading. This is page 60. So I got some bookmarks here. So let's read. This is part 3 of Prison Nation. Victim Rights as a Stalking Horse for State Repression by Paul Wright. This article was written in August of 1999. How the ruling class defines and punishes crime goes a long way towards demonstrating whose class interests are being served by the criminal justice system. A key component of this strategy is to first define crime so that the poor are overly included, and the wealthy and powerful are largely excluded, weeded out of the arrest, prosecution, conviction, and imprisonment cycle. The flip side of this process lies in defining who is a victim and who isn't. Simply put, some victims are defined as worthy in the eyes of the law and the larger public discourse, while others are not. In recent years, there has been increased activity by victims' rights groups and legislatures who claim concern for the victims of crime. While there are more questions than answers regarding this complex issue to date, victims' rights has been used primarily to expand state power and repression in a manner that police and prosecutors would otherwise have been unable to do directly. The first step lies in defining who the victim is. An illustrative example is the move currently underway to add a victims' rights amendment to the U.S. Constitution. This amendment would require that prosecutors notify victims of any court hearings involving the defendant, give victims an opportunity to speak at sentencings, and be consulted about plea agreements. A key change made after the bill was introduced was to define the term victim to include only the victims of violent crime. The victims of economic and property crime are excluded from coverage by this amendment. Since more people are victimized by economic and property crime than violent crime, apparently that victim majority is not worthy of protection. The thousands of people bilked out of their life savings by the likes of fraudulent scammers Charles Keating and Jim Baker are among those not considered worthy of protection as victims. Just as criminal activity by corporations and the wealthy is effectively decriminalized through lax enforcement of the laws or diversion into the civil justice system, so too are the victims of predation by corporations and the wealthy de-victimized. Workers killed in accidents that result from a company's cost-cutting measures to maximize profit are not victims. Consumers killed by dangerous products knowingly marketed by corporations to make more money are also not victims. A miner killed because his employer cut costs on safety measures is not a victim. His widow who loses her life savings due to fraud by bank owners is not a victim. Even having her car stolen by local thieves does not make her a victim. But if she is robbed at gunpoint of $5, she is now a victim worthy of constitutional protection. Good victims and bad victims. Beyond the definition of who is an official victim and who isn't, examine the victims of violent crimes against the person: murder, rape, robbery, and assault with bodily injury. Here the key issue defining a person as a victim is not merely a matter of economic loss, but that of the identities of the victim and the victimizer. Or not all victims are equal. Some prosecutors who oppose the Constitutional Victims' Rights Amendment point out that a substantial number of violent crime victims are themselves criminals. Their injury is the result of dispute settling among members of the lower class criminal element. Sammy Gravano was given immunity for the murder of 19 of his fellow mafia compatriots in exchange for his testimony against John Gotti. Obviously, police, prosecutors, and a judge decided that Gravano's 19 murdered mafia victims weren't worthy of the definition of victim. Under a Victims' Rights Amendment, would the families of Gravano's victims be allowed to speak out against his 5-year sentence reached by plea bargain? Every day across the U.S., police and prison guards kill, beat, and brutalize the citizenry. Prisoners are also assaulted sexually and otherwise, and subjected to bodily injury by their fellow prisoners and prison staff. However, the political establishment is not calling for rights for these victims. Abner Lumia, the Haitian immigrant in New York City, who was sodomized with a police truncheon in a police station bathroom by New York's finest, is not referred to as a crime victim. We never heard the term crime victim Rodney King, because even when police are convicted of criminal acts, to call the brutalized people victims necessarily implies the police perpetrators are criminals. The political problem for the advocates of victims' rights becomes even greater when prisoners suffer injury. The political discourse that has been created around victims' rights steadfastly implies what it cannot openly say. Worthy victims are nice. Middle and upper class people, usually white, who are raped, robbed, or killed by poor, violent strangers, especially black or Latino strangers. If the police, media, and politicians have made the universal face of crime that of a young black or Latino man, they have also strived mightily to make the face of the universal victim that of a middle or upper class white woman or child. Brutalized prisoners don't advance this political agenda. Hence, there was no concern whatsoever for the prisoner who is raped, robbed, beaten, or killed, whether by prisoners or prison staff. Not surprisingly, no one speaks of victims' rights for the prisoners subjected to violent crimes against their person. Many states have specifically codified who makes a good victim and who doesn't. For example, in Washington, like many other states, no one who is victimized while confined in jail or prison can seek victims' compensation for their injuries. Other states, such as Ohio and Arkansas, deny victims' compensation to anyone who has ever been convicted of a crime. The use of victims' rights laws readily shows how these political decisions defining who is and who is not a victim play out in the real world. Sylvia Cassidy was a 24-year-old North Carolina woman who was shot in the head and killed by her live-in boyfriend. When her family sought victims' compensation to assist with their funeral expenses, they were denied. The North Carolina Victims' Compensation Fund Commission held that by living with her killer, Cassidy was violating a 194-year-old law against cohabitation. Thus, she was a criminal. North Carolina, like many other states, excludes as victims anyone involved in criminal activity which leads to their death or injury. By cohabitating with her boyfriend, Cassidy was breaking the law, ergo she was a criminal and not a victim. Damn. North Carolina Victims' Compensation Fund Director Gary Eichelberger noted that North Carolina law mandates denial of compensation if the victim was participating in any criminal activity. Quote, "We wrestle with this every time we get a claim like this, especially when the victim is otherwise innocent." Close quote. Eichelberger went on to state that the commission has denied compensation solely on the basis of cohabitation in 47 cases. 39 of those cases involved domestic violence victims. Then we reach the forgotten victim, people wrongfully convicted and imprisoned or executed. Recent cases in Philadelphia, where hundreds of prisoners were released after successfully showing they had been set up and convicted on false drug charges by corrupt police, are but one example. Whatever the actual numbers, as a matter of statistical probability, of 1.8 million people imprisoned in U.S. prisons and jails, at least some are factually innocent. Few defenders of the criminal justice system claim it is infallible. The U.S. Supreme Court has held that it does not violate the U.S. Constitution to execute the innocent, so long as the condemned received a fair trial. Justice Blackmun commented in Herrera v. Collins that executing the innocent bordered on simple murder. If innocent people are convicted, imprisoned, or executed for crimes they did not commit, are they too not victims? Victims of a system no less. For unlike individual crimes committed by people acting alone, imprisoning and executing the innocent requires collusion by the police, prosecutors, judiciary, and sometimes juries and the media to accomplish its end result. To call the imprisoned and executed innocents victims would raise the question of whether the entire criminal justice system is a victimizer. The problem with defining who is and who isn't a victim is in the degree of impunity the victimizing perpetrators correspondingly receive. Not surprisingly, brutalized prisoners, citizens, and the wrongly convicted who suffer at the hands of police, guards, prosecutors, and judges are not considered worthy of the title victim, because the victimizing institutions of social control, prisons, police, judiciary, and prosecutors are rarely, if ever, held accountable for their misdeeds. People can't become a victim, not a worthy victim anyway, unless the social and political decision is first made by the ruling class to have a criminal. The same reasoning applies to why people who suffer economic and physical harm due to the predation of the wealthy and corporations are also not considered worthy victims. The politics of victims' rights. The political use of the victims' rights movement is seen by the rise of this movement as part of the overall trend towards increased state repression that began in 1968, but which accelerated markedly with the Reagan presidency. Virtually all the well-funded victims' rights groups received substantial portions of their funding directly from law enforcement agencies or groups linked to such agencies. The result, intended or not, is that these groups tend to parrot the party line of more police, more prisons, more punishment, more draconian laws. The Doris State Victims Bureau in California receives 85% of its funding from the California Correctional Peace Officers Association, the union that represents prisons guards. The union also provides the Bureau with free office space in its Sacramento headquarters. Not surprisingly, the Bureau likes what the union likes, especially legislation like three strikes laws, which help ensure full employment to prison guards. The net result is that those with the biggest vested interest in maintaining and expanding the prison industrial complex, police, prosecutors, and politicians, eagerly use victims' rights groups as their stalking horses to expand repressive state police power in a manner that would seem crassly self-interested if they did so directly. It is important to note, however, that not all victims' rights groups fall into this category. Murder Victims' Families for Reconciliation, MVFR, and the restorative justice movement are the most notable examples of victims' rights groups that are not political pawns for those who seek to increase state repression. But much of MVFR's work goes unnoticed in public dialogue. They are neither well funded nor well publicized, because their goal of actually helping victims of property and violent crime deal with their loss do not advance a broader political agenda for the dominant class. They are largely ignored. The current criminal justice system ill serves the victims of crime and the criminal defendant. Most people who suffer the loss of property would prefer compensation to the thief's incarceration. Of course, those robbed by the rich usually get neither compensation nor imprisonment as satisfaction. For the victims of personal violent crime committed by poor individuals, the current system offers only punishment. Punishment rarely gives the victim closure, nor does it provide the perpetrator with any type of real rehab. But as long as the purpose of the criminal justice system remains that of the tool of social control over the poor, this is unlikely to change. Likewise, this is exactly what makes it unlikely that restorative justice will make inroads into the criminal justice system. Even less likely is that any organized voice will call for the inclusion of all victims of violence and theft, even if the perpetrators are agents of the state, the wealthy, and corporations. Even if the victims of these crimes are poor, imprisoned, or socially disadvantaged. For now, victims continue to be defined as the white, middle, and upper class person who is killed, raped, robbed, or assaulted by a stranger. Unless critics of the criminal justice system begin to question and expose the current role of the victims' rights agenda and its veneer of legitimacy, its influence will go unchecked. Bam. All right. That was part 3 of Prison Nation, the warehousing of America's poor. So, don't forget, guys, slavery never ended. More money for the police, more jails, less money for social services, colleges, schools, rehabilitation. Yeah, so, all right, that's what I've been preaching on this channel, guys. I've been reading a couple, it's just funny how I stumbled upon prison books, you know. So, alright, what do you say we play some games, guys? What do you say we play some games? Is that what y'all want? Y'all want some games? Y'all want to see some games? Okay. All right, let's see here. Let's move this over here. And guys, I really want to do a video game. Today I recapped 2026 films I've been watching. Halfway point. But I really want to do what I've been playing in a stream with some of my favorite clips, and I'll talk about it as I show you. Maybe I can do that Saturday. We'll see. But I think I've beaten 15 games this year, just FYI. Just FYI. Alright, guys. Excuse me. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream, and then I'm going to reboot it so I can have a title of I'm playing Like a Dragon Gaiden. So let me quit the stream real quick, guys, and then I'll